Hello and welcome to another video here on my channel. Today we're going to have a quick look at the Arcam here. I'm not going to be talking about the machine itself because I don't know anything about it, apart from it's a very high-end machine. The issue with the machine is that the CD-ROM drive door won't open anymore. Now usually you can turn it on and give it a quick tap and the drive will pop out, but that didn't happen. So I'm hoping I'll be able to take the drive out from the inside and maybe, do a quick release from the inside of it. If not, I'll give it another quick tap and see if that makes it pop out. So in other words, what's wrong with this machine? Well, that's the basic problem that I was told about, which was basically it wouldn't eject anymore, and it was the CD inside the machine. Or maybe it wasn't CD inside the machine, but maybe they said that I don't know. Either way, the drive wouldn't open. So that was the issue with it. So I'm going to basically try and solve that problem. So what we'll do anyway is, just because we want to see the inside of it anyway, is we will take it apart and take a look at the inside of it. It's a fairly substantial machine, in fairness to it. The screws on the side of it are star shaped, so you'll need a star shaped screwdriver to open them. You can sometimes get away with using a flathead screwdriver if you have the right size, but it's not always the case. So this problem that's happened to this happens to most drives. Let's have a look at the back there while we're here. We got your sound, we got audio out, multi-4 quadraphonic 1 and 2, look. Coaxial digital, optical digital. Nice machine, yeah. Got a good few inputs and outputs. And it's even got a voltage selector for the two different regions. Obviously you don't want to change that unless you're in the other region. I need a smaller one for these, I'll get that in a second. So the most common problem with optical drives is the little belt that opens and closes the door, stops the door from opening. Next most common problem is a problem with laser sag, which is what we talked about before. Now, not all drives are like this one, insofar as most of our CD-ROM drives at the end of the day inside them, whether it be a burner machine or one of these high-end machines. But not all drives are belt driven. There are a few out there, and I actually have a few, and I must upload them at some stage if asked. Put it this way, if you want to see one of them, ask in the comments and I will go dig one out and I'll show it to you. I have at least one drive that doesn't have a belt on it. It actually has it's a gear system, so it's actually the gears open and close. That's what actually makes it work. Another star head here, smaller type. Now what you would generally do with the likes of this is put them in a separate pile, and that way then you know what's what. But I don't think we're going to get too lost here. I think we should be fairly okay. I think we're going to be fairly golden when it comes to this. So we'll open that one. Just give me 1 second. You probably hear there see, talk about live. We're getting messages here as we're standing. So I'll give you 1 second to see what that is. Nothing of importance. Nope. Nothing to worry about. So next thing we'll do then is we'll just pop this cover off. Should just come off easy enough without any great hassle. It does. Wow, that's a piece of kit. Ah, look at this. Ah, yes. I wonder, is that... Yeah, the whole wow, the whole power supply and system. This is a large heatsink. Seems to be, yeah. Yeah, it's a large heatsink for the whole thing. Very nice. Oh, look at that. That's a piece of kit. Look, that's when you know you bought quality. They actually put their name on it. Yes, and always read what it says. Shock hazard. See. Has it down there, don't touch, don't need to mess with this. We don't need to mess with any of this. We just mess with the actual optical drive itself. So this is the optical drive. So you can see there's no CD actually in there, which is good. Now we can, what way is he linked in? He's just directly linked in. Some of these drives you'll find will actually be cabled in, just like a normal CD-ROM drive. This one isn't, so this is actually a proprietary system for Arcam, so they've obviously made this optical drive specifically for this machine. Now maybe in other machines, and So people there may be able to correct me on it. But while we're in here, we'll just have a quick look. So you can see the caps are good. There's nothing bulging there. And this one here is good. We could take this off, but I don't think there's any issue with that. There's no point in taking things apart that don't need to be taken apart. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, is the old adage. So we're just trying to get this optical drive sorted out. Get a new belt into it. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I have the belt size in stock. If I don't, it doesn't really matter. We can worry about it another day. But I do have a few belts here, so I don't know what those screws are. Yeah, they are actually. Hold on. You are correct. Yeah. Let's see if this will come out. See the shield come out. I definitely have. Yeah, that's definitely right. It's nice. It's a very well built machine on the inside. Anyway. That's for sure. I should actually whip out the Technics machine that I have, and we can do a compare. You can see what the Technics one looks like on the inside. It's the only CD-ROM drive separate, hi-fi separate that I ever purchased. I bought the Technics machine, and then I also bought, this is for earthing here in case you're wondering, this one here I'm taking off. And then I bought a Philips CD recorder drive for recording audio CD, mainly for myself actually, and a friend of mine who was taking up a bit of singing, so it was interesting times, and that doesn't want to come out of there. We can always try the other one. Is he a star? He's a star! He doesn't want to come out of there. The whole drive is moving now, so that's always a good thing. Now he's moving now, hold on. Could be a washer in there or something. Let me be careful here. I can feel something. Yeah, there. See that? So this is our stuff you got to watch out for. So we're going to put it over there. Make sure that goes back on. That's just to make sure there's no interference. Now, he should be going out forward there, really. See that? What you want to do is get that cover off realistically. Let me see now if I can. He's going to move. Oh, I have to take that off to move it. Looks like I have to go from the other side. I'm just trying to see if I can get this out of here. Is he clipped in there? He is just, yeah, he's just pushed in. It's okay. Okay. So basically that was just clipped in. There's a little receiver on the other end. So let's have a look. Yeah, we have some screws here. That wasn't good. Well, there are the 4 screws for the drive. Now she's out. Whoop. And there's our power now. So we'll be able to whip that out. So I know I'm off camera here, but there we go. Ah, yes. Now we have the optical drive out of the machine. 1 screw is after hitting the deck. So the guy whose machine is this now, he's probably rolling around going, "Oh, mother of divine, what's he doing to my poor machine?" Well, we're going to kill it, and we're going to fix it. That's the way I look at it. The screws there somewhere, we'll find it. It's hit the dust. I have spare ones anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. Okay, so now. Okay, so let's see if there is a way of quickly releasing this. Usually there is. Yes, interesting. A lot of times there is. I don't see anything obvious. I may have to look at the book on this one. Where's the band? It's all covered in. See, even with the laser drives, what you could generally do is turn it and pop it out that way. So I don't want to take that off because I'll never get those little cushions back on again. There must be a way of getting in there without having to do a major operation. I wonder. Okay. Let me just have a quick look at this. I'll go and find the screw to hit the dirt, and we will continue this momentarily. Okay, so once the drive is out, there is actually a quick release. There it is there. So I just basically put a little flathead in. I turned it. It dropped the bay, and look at that. Voila. we're out. So now, whoop, let's have a look now. Let's see where this rubber band is. I still haven't found the rubber band. Ah, it's in there. Look, there it is. I should be able to disengage this now. Ah, yeah, this little clip here I'll probably do. This drive will never work again. Okay, so that. Get off. Get off. Right, okay. Let's see if I can. What way does he go? Okay, I'm gonna just go off camera again for a second until I just have a quick look at where this clip works. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I figured out how to break it even further. I mean, open it up more. These two clips here, we're actually keeping the drive in place, which is what I was trying to figure out. So, this is the position of this cog. This cog needs to be in. So, I've figured that much out. And because what I did is I took a picture of it before I took it apart. So this is the orientation of this cog. So now I've got to basically get the drive, the disc. Got to get this back in there and get that orientation to be correct. Hello, and we're going to continue on here. So I've actually put the drive back in just in a moment. I'll explain what I did in just a second. But one thing I noticed was there's a bit of a label on the cover here. So I'm going to spray some label remover onto that and let that sit for a while over yonder and do its business. And that way the label will be gone. I hate labels stuck to things and it drives me mad. Anyway, the drive is going to need a bit of a greasing. That's for sure, but we do have it working. So it just took me a bit of fiddling about to try to figure out what way that cog was orientated. But I do have it opening and closing, but it does need a greasing. It's a little bit tight still, so I just need to give it a bit of a greasing. So we're going to go through that, and I'm going to show you some of the clips and bits and bobs that have to come off. I'm not taking the drive back apart again, because it was extremely hard to do. To put it back together again and get it orientated. I had to sit down with it for a couple of minutes and try to figure out what was where and where it was. But I'll show you as much as I possibly can, and hopefully then you'll be able to figure out what way to do it. But I'll show you what I've done, but I'm not going to repeat it in that sense. I'm not going to actually physically take this drive back out again, because it is one of those things that there's no instruction as to how to do it. So I'm going to do my best to explain it to you without actually physically taking the actual drive bay out of here again. So we're just going to take the power out there again. So getting this out of here wasn't any great shakes. There was the two little power leads that were here, and then of course was the optical reader, which was over here, which we pulled out. So on the drive itself, when the drive bay comes out, you must undo this clip here and this clip here simultaneously and both together, and that will allow you to pull the drive up. But before you pull the drive out, and be very careful when you do it, you must remove this little clip here. So pull that back and pull this fella out here. Basically what's happening here is there's a little bit of plastic here that you might have seen flying out in one of the other videos, and it basically hits a little micro switch, this one here. Right, I'm going to get the screwdriver, this one here. Okay, so when the drive bay is fully open, it clicks that and tells the mechanism that the drive bay is fully open. So basically, I hadn't got that in. The machine was like going a bit nuts. I was like, oh yeah, that has to go back in. So it's back in now, so it is working now, so everything is tickety-boon as it should be. Like I said, to figure out what way the drive was going and to figure out what way the mechanism was operating, the little white cog, I basically spun it gently. So I can't even see it from there. I'm gonna basically turn on the machine again, just eject it for you. I'll try to show you that way. It's probably the easiest way if I can do it now. If not, we'll have to cut this video. I should be able to put that in there without having to do anything major. Hopefully you can see this. You know, these go in only one place, so there's no real problem. You just got to make sure that you have the drive guided up correctly when you put them back in. Because there is two little feet. If I turn around this way, you'll see them. See that there? I got the pencil actually, that might help us. So this little bit here, you got to make sure that that piece of steel is sitting on top of that. So that's what I've got to do. So we've got to kind of 4 or 5 different bits you're trying to orientate at the same time, and of course the wire down here, I might put a cable tie on that actually. It's kind of getting in the way. Can keeps on catching on, I noticed. So we should have it. There we are. Now we're in. We're down, and that cable is out of the way. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so I'll just show you now. If I if I eject the mechanism, we should be able to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I gotta put the cover all back on down here anyway, so I'm just turn the power off now. So basically what I did was I had the drive bay out of here, and I basically watched the mechanism. So if I, a bit like the laser, if I spin the gear, see the way that the plate's coming out? Okay, if I do it that way, the plate's going in. So I tried to figure out which way it was going. Okay, so I figured, oh, that's when it goes in. So when it goes in, this whole mechanism here should actually lift up physically. So that's what I was trying to figure out, which way was which. And when I finally figured out which way it was when it was closed and which way it was when it was open, I basically moved the cog and then it would stop all the way to when it was open, and that's when I basically re-engaged the disc tray drive again into the mechanism, and I just basically slowly pushed it in. I went, grand, that's okay. Slowly pulled it out like so. I then turned on the machine like so, let it power up, it pulled in the drive, and voila, we're in business. Okay, so it's not like the laser drives. The mechanism is not that complicated. The cog on it isn't that complicated. It is a lot simpler. But you still got to try it. You still got to watch out for the orientation. It is very important that it's orientated the correct way. Now we're going to have to open that up again because I have to put that plastic clip back in. Do you remember this fella? I got to try to get that back in now. With, you know, okay, that's going to be difficult. So I'm going to basically try it now. I'm going to take this drive-by back out of here. I'm going to start the camera back up in just a moment. So just give us a second, okay? Okay, I've fed it in from this side. So now I should be able to just slide it across. And it should just pop into place. There's a little bit down in here. It's down in here. I'll make sure that gets in there. So that's what I'm aiming for. I think I've got it in there. No, I haven't. I have it. No, I haven't. Yeah, hold on. There we are. Now it's in, is it? I got it in there? Yeah, I did. Just a bit of jiggery pokery, but that's it. Now it's back in place. It just means that aesthetically, when it's open up, you just see black. That's basically all that's for. It wouldn't actually matter a damn if it wasn't there. The only other thing we're going to do now is basically put a little bit of grease on the mechanism. You can see there's a bit of grease there, so we're going to basically get some lithium grease and give it a bit of greasing. Silicone grease. Lithium grease. Only the best will do, you know. Right, let's see. Where's me wee cloth? Where's me wee cloth? Give it a wee whap. There we go. So, let me see now. Let's put a bit in there. Less is more. Just this smear of it, you know. It should be in the runner there. Just want to get it into the runner. Let's wipe off the excess in a second. Top one looks good, but the bottom one's a bit shot, eh? It's okay now. Just make sure there's nothing. It's okay. Yeah. Just bring that in. Place to give a bit of grease is on the optical read bar again, just a dab. It's more than enough. And a bit on the other side of it, just as it gets it everywhere. Again, just a little dab. The laser inside this is a Sony laser, just in case you're wondering. Sony make an awful lot of lasers for an awful lot of companies. So, you know what I mean, it's one of those things like it's why buy from anybody else, you know. I don't think there's any grease on that now. Mechanism seems okay, otherwise I put grease in there already. Okay, right. Next step is we're going to put it back into the machine and make sure it's still opening and closing. So let's do that. Let's get this out of the way for a second. And bring that down. Oh, what I did do is I did purchase some new rubbers for the drive. So that is one thing that I did do whilst I wasn't on camera. So I'm just going to do this next stage and then we'll play about it. Okay. Okay, it's back in, but as the man says, you would never believe it. I managed to bump the drive in my accent, and the whole thing went off again. Yeah, so you need to have this tray out of it when you're setting it up with a little white cog. Once it's set, then that it's ejected out, it'll work. You put the tray back in and away it goes. But just don't push this in too far. Best thing to do is actually have this mechanism sitting up here with the 2 power leads in, and get it to suck the drive in and then turn it off. That way it's engaged the mechanism and it's locked it up, and then put it back in the front. So it's now working fine. As you can see, it's actually decided to go in, and if I hit the check button or low button as it's called, voila, it comes out, and it's actually a lot smoother now as well. A bit of grease always helps. So the next thing we'll do is we will reassemble the machine, put the parts back in, and we'll also have a look at that. Have a look at that label now. Actually, see how it's getting on. That we were doing a few minutes ago. It should be done by now, and we'll do that. So let's unplug that. Unplug that and have a look at our label we're getting on. So this was our sticky label. So now it should be just a matter of peeling it off like so. We'll get an oily, greasy rag. Give it a bit of a wipe there on top. There you go now. The label is gone and the top is looking a lot better. But before we go and seal the machine back together, we've got to put the parts back in, haven't we? So we've now changed the rubber belt on the machine, but we've got to put all the screws back in. So as the man says, this should be the end of it now. So one of the screws we took out, you might remember, was this earthing screw here. So we're going to get that back in now if we can. So a little washer on top. That goes. Can you see this? Yeah, you can see this. And then the little fella underneath like so. Ah, sonny, because Chinese people have smaller hands. That was in a film. I always remember that. Very racist, of course. But no, I can see why, because my hands are so big, they tend not to let me do this stuff. You need wee hands, wee tiny hands doing this sort of delicate work. But yeah, at least we're there now. Anyway, if I could just get that in there. Let me see if I can. Is that magnetised? Do I have that magnetised? I do, kind of. Do I have that magnetised? I do. It's too big though. Hold on a second. I'm just going to get a slightly smaller screwdriver. Should be the job. Yep, that'll do it. Slightly smaller. So if I can put my finger under there. One easy way to do this would be to have put this cable on before I put the drive back in. Or I could just take the drive back out and put it in then, but nah, this is more fun. Right, let's get this done. There's people there now going, ooh, has to be an easier way. That has to be an easier way. You're right, there has to be. Where am I going with the screw here? Ah, for the love of Michael. I hear. Forget it. What I'll do is I'll take the drive back out and we'll do it that way. Give me a second. Okay, to make life easier, I've just taken the drive back out and I've taken the cable off the bottom, and I'm now going to do it this way. This should make it easier. No, it won't. My hands are just too big. Hold on. Maybe. This should make it easier. If you're doing this yourself, this will make it easier for you. Yeah, I've got it now. Yeah, it's just my hands are so big and cumbersome. It's just very hard to get in here. This is the one we took out there at the beginning, where it turned out it was a little hexagon head nut. Anyway, it's out now. It's in now, as I say. Right, we put those cables back in. This one here, no, we put it in afterwards. So it's just these cables are going back in again. I've shown that about 1,000 times. So a cable goes in there. So you have the loading mechanism cable, and you have the optical motor mechanism. So there's two basically power cables going in there. One of them runs the CD head across the track, and the other one allows the drive bay to be ejected and raised and lowered to allow you to remove and insert your CD. So that's that cable back in there as well. So now the bottom one, bottom cable, I have that bit, but where did I put the screw? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. There it is. I don't believe it. Now, so this was, I'm just going to turn it around now so you can see. So you have, goes on here, you see? So there, see it? So it's going on to that. I'm just going to do it slightly off camera. It's going to be hard to see it. I'll try and, I'm going to shift it over now, so just watch out. There we go. Wobble vision, we call it. And just, there you are now. So we're going to go in here. So let me see now what's, this is a little hex. This is this funny little star shape that we used on some of the other parts. There's some of the more finer parts. So I'm going to put this on now. Little split washer on top of it. I've already magnetized this before, so we should get this one in one go this time. Yeah, we have it, we have it. Now, that's that on. So that's that grounded. Now, the CD parts, these are the back bits. I think they were just Phillips's, they were. So we should have 4 of them. 1, and that ain't 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 little Phillips screws, which mount the, that's too big for that, which mount the actual drive. So the one goes in here. I think that's going in. Yeah, it is going in. Don't finish them home just yet. The trick here would be to almost send them home, the screws. Keep them somewhat loose so as you can find the rest of the screw holes. There's one over here. So that's that one now going down. That's it. This one here, same thing, should be okay. Let's see now where we are. I'm nearly there yet. They're finding their home okay. There's only one left, which is here. So I'll put that in there now. And that is that. So now, the next thing we've got to do is put the cover back on, put the last screws in, and we'll put a CD in it. And okay, the last thing you might want to see is just the cover going back on, so we'll just do that now. Oh, that bumping off the tripod. So yeah, we were looking at this, weren't we, before we opened it up, and remove that awful little bit of sticky label there. So there are smaller screws at the back here, and the bigger ones are at the side. So we still have the small star head on here, so we're just going to put these in while we have it. Hopefully it's in the right place there. Feels right. So a lot of times they use these screws to stop amateurs like myself. I mean, to stop amateurs taking out the screws and interfering with the inside of the machines. It's to make sure that the authorised service personnel of these high-end machines are the only people that are inside them, fiddling about with them. And it makes sense. At the end of the day, these are precision engineered machines, and you know what I mean, it wouldn't be a good idea if service personnel were fiddling with them that, you know, were inexperienced and you know, you could end up breaking them, of course, and making a dash of them. So what I will do is I'm going to take this star head out of here, show you that on camera, put the bigger one back in. So that's this baby. I think that's sitting in right there, isn't it? Looks like it's sticking out, but I don't think so. And yeah, he's lined up. So again, they go in here. So the most complicated part of this fix was the actual mechanism. I had the rubber band there, of course, for it that actually worked. I had a funny feeling it wasn't the rubber band was actually at fault, but I don't know whether it was. I think it was more along the lines of getting that drive orientated the correct way. That's the real issue. Other than that, it was fairly straightforward. Getting the old disc out was the problem again. We showed you the quick release, that the little screw head on the bottom pops that out. But you're then going to be aware then that you're going to have to be fiddling around with it to reorientate it the other way around. Now, on some machines it's possible to change that rubber band without, I don't know what this thing is. It's possible to change that rubber band without actually taking apart the mechanism. Now, in the case of this one, we couldn't actually do that because in their effort to be fancy, what they did was they put a lovely cover over it. So that's fair enough, like the cover is there over the band, it looked great when you open the drive. But it makes it very difficult to sort out without taking it apart. You can't just take the rubber band off. You can do it on some of the other low-end machines, but this is a more high-end machine, so it has to look good when you open up the drive. Kind of, you know, any white showing or, you know, nasty cogs. It has to look slick. So let's make sure now it's still ejecting. This is the real test here. Lovely. No, it's not grinding, so that means that the little sensor that I was telling you about at the back of this is actually telling the tilt sensor, look, bang, everything's okay. Yeah, okay. So I think we're on a winner. I think we've salvaged this piece of technology from the scrap heap, which is always good, and all because of a little rubber band. Like I said, do I have one here handy? Too far away, but just go into your collection. If you're watching this, you probably have a few CD-ROM drives knocking about anyway, so just go into your collection, take out a CD-ROM drive, and you will find that if you want to pop open these, there's a little hole about the size of a needle. You can actually pop it in and the drive will pop out, and actually the rubber band is usually just right there naked, so you can't miss it. And like I say, you can sometimes just pop it off without having to do anything we've just done. And removing the rubber band and putting another one on without taking the drive bay out is a very good way of doing it. Simply because it's difficult to do, but simply because the problem we had when we took our drive out, that everything got all messed up, that doesn't happen. It doesn't get messed up because it doesn't get messed up because in our case, when we had to eject the drive manually override it as if it were, we ended up then having to figure out, you know, its total orientation out and its total orientation in, so they could figure out where this drive bay is to be. Excuse me. And that's the same as the Laserdisc drives. Same idea. You need to find the, you know, immediate out before you put the tray back in. You can't put the tray back in when it's fully loaded. The mechanism, you have to do it when the tray drive is out. So that's when you get your orientation correct. But other than that, we're golden. So I'm going to bring it inside. You're not going to be able to hear the sound quality difference. To be honest with you, on my setup, it's pretty rubbish, so I probably won't hear the sound quality difference either. But I do want to bring it inside and make sure, after all this effort, that it's still playing back CDs. Because at the end of the day, this was a waste of effort if it doesn't play back CDs. So we'll go inside and we will plug it into the machine and see what happens. So I'll see you in a bit. There you are, it's playing back like it used to before. Like I said, I can't really let you hear the sound, but there you go. Alright, so we're now running and working. So hopefully a few more years of enjoyment. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked, please like, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you again the next time. And thanks again for watching, I appreciate it. Bye bye.